Hi, how's it going? What? Yeah, keep it up. I'm going to tell you a story. What? You? Why not? Anyway, I'm going to tell you a story. It's going to take about 15 or 20 minutes. Does that sound all right? Question up top. What's the longest you've ever been in a bin? Never? Lightweight! I'll just get into character. For me, the longest I've been in a bin is about 4 or 5 hours. About 6 months ago, I got locked out of my house. Right, I was in my boxer shorts and t-shirt and boxer shorts, whatever. I was in my t-shirt and boxer shorts. I'd woken up and I went outside to put something in the bin, and the door slammed behind me. Oh no, I'm locked out of my house now. To answer a couple of questions that often get asked here. No, I didn't have my keys. Otherwise, this would be a very short story about a man that unlocked his own front door. And no, I didn't have my phone either. Let's recap. I'm in my boxer shorts and my t-shirt, and my boxer short and t-shirts. But it's all right. It was about 10:30 in the morning, and my housemate said he'd be home at around 11. So I thought, I'll just wait it out. So I waited, and I sat on my doorstep, and I got very cold, especially my bare feet, because I don't wear socks in bed. Do you? No. What do you wear?
Anything.
Calm down. Or anything. Laundry basket. What? Have you done it? Yes. Pipe down. Yeah, so I sat on my doorstep and my feet were getting really cold, but then I had an idea, right? I had a rifle in the recycling bin and a pistol in my pants. No, calm down. I had a rummage in the recycling bin. I didn't touch the household waste. I'm not a monster. And I pulled out a used paper bag, and I put my feet in that. So I was sitting on my doorstep with my feet in a paper bag, my t-shirt pulled over my knees, giving me a rather ample bosom. Eyes up here, laundry basket. It's a great look, isn't it? Sure, but my housemate was coming home any minute, except he wasn't, and a paper bag can only keep your feet warm for so long. It's about 8 minutes. 43 seconds to be exact. So imagine how cold my feet were when they'd been in there for 40 minutes. That's right, colder than a fish finger's feet at Captain Birdseye's wedding. Sorry, he is taken, ladies. And yes, fish fingers do have feet. No, obviously not when you buy them. Captain's not an idiot. He chops them off so we can get them in the box. But anyway, I was sitting out there. There's no sign of my housemate. My feet weren't getting any warmer. If anything, they were getting
colder.
Well done. They were getting colder, and then I had a second brainwave, and I did what any of you lot would have done. I completely emptied the recycling bin, and I got in that. Now, I don't want you to think I left it standing upright with my head popping out like Oscar the Grouch. I'm not a madman, no. I laid it on its side, and I reversed into it, and I held the lid shut with my hands. Now, not only did I discover warmth, but I also discovered how old Bruce Forsyth found his famous pose. Now, in his heyday, Bruce's mum would regale people with stories of how little Brucey Jostrich, that's before he took the stage name, Forsyth, would spend all his time up Whipsnade Zoo and got his pose from his love of the flamingos. I mean, inspiration can strike at any time, but I've got it on good authority from old Jim Tarbuck, that for a large part of the 60s, Brucey lived in a bin. But it's all right. He turned his life around and he became a national treasure. But his mum continued to make up stories about large birds, mainly to entertain her husband and Bruce's dad, Hugh Jostrich. Anyway, did you get it?
Kind of.
Do you know who Bruce Forsyth is?
No.
There isn't time. There isn't time. There isn't time. But you'll have fun Googling it. Remember Bruce Forsyth, and remember his dad's name is Hugh, and his surname's Jostrich. And then think of an ostrich, and then you're going to be up all night. You're going to be up all night, absolutely cackling. But rather selfishly, you have derailed the story. So, where are you from?
From Atlanta.
Okay. Good for you. That's lovely stuff. Gambling?
Love gambling.
Okay, get help. Anyway, so I'm in the bin, the lid's shut. I'm a little bit warm, but things start to go wrong, right? And a breeze starts to come in through the gaps in the lid, and it starts to make me really quite chilly, and my arm's hurting from holding the bin lid shut. So I identified the 3 biggest gaps, and I plugged them up with a Tango can. You aware of Tango? What is it? If you have to ask, you've answered incorrectly. It's a fizzy pop, or what you would call a soda. I plugged the first gap up with a Tango can. What flavour?
Apple.
Yes. The second gap I plugged with a. Might want to get a pen out, because there's going to be more things you don't know. The second gap I plugged with a Just Roll Puff pastry box. The contents of which I'd used to make a Jamie Oliver 5-ingredient chicken pie 2 nights previously. 5 ingredients, Jamie. Whatever. I got it down to 2. Chicken and pie. And the third. I know you know what a pie is. Now the third gap I plugged with a bird's eye potato waffle box. Why? Come on. Because the Waffly Versatile is an old advert. So with the gaps plugged, the breeze was limited, and I was warm once more. But after a further 15 minutes, my arm really started to hurt from holding the bin lid shut. Have you ever held a bin lid shut from inside a bin? Yeah, well, come out when you've lived a little. It's really tough work. I was holding the bin lid shut, and then I heard I'm in the bin, the lid's shut, and I heard some footsteps coming from outside the bin, and I thought, hang on, it's my housemate coming home from. So I leapt forth from the bin. I was, Adam? Hello, except it wasn't my housemate, it was my neighbour from across the road coming back from walking a dog. Hello? I've been in a bin. Would you... oh, she's gone in the house. And she shut the door. Okay, no worries. If you won't come to me, I'll come to you. So I went across the road and I knocked on her door. And I knocked, and I was out there for about 5 minutes and there was no answer. And initially I was quite annoyed, but then I thought to myself, do you know what? I probably wouldn't answer the door to a mustachio man with no trousers on that I just saw getting out of bin. And so I got back in it because I'm a bin boy and I'm proud of it. I'm a bin boy and I'm proud of it. I'm also a 100-metre swimming badge holder. You may touch me. Yeah. Passed my cycling proficiency test on the second attempt. I remember everyone I've ever slept with, and there's been nearly 6 of them. And I can also remember the full name and seating plan of everybody I went to primary school with. Don't shake your head at me. It's a blessing. Sometimes it was me, Andrew Parsonson, Peter Lamb, Ryan West, Tim White. He was from Burundi. His mum and dad were missionaries. They'd moved back. He saw snow for the first time in 1996, and we all got the afternoon off school. And then there were Sarah Crooks, Shona Bland. Now, curious tale about Shona Bland. She came to school every day for a year with brightly coloured drinks, and I'm talking neon green, like vibrant pink. No one knew how she did it. And after a thorough investigation that included the teacher, food colouring, and then there was Alex Harvey and Joe Bardi. They bonded because both their mums only had one hand. High five. Don't laugh. And then there was Alex Graham, I'm still in touch with him. And then there was Andrew Swarbrick. Strawberry, Blast from the Past. You don't know him, don't worry. If you're really trying, who is it? No, anyway, he spent a week with a green M&M up his nose, and now he's a doctor. So fuck him. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a doctor. Still, could I still be a doctor? Great. Anyway, back to the bin. As a last resort, I sought refuge in the church at the end of my road, where a kind Christian gave me this pair of red leggings. Another one opened a sports bag and had 8 pairs of brand new trainers and gave me some Nike Air Force Ones. So I left the church a changed man. Just not in the way Jesus had hoped, and I returned to my doorstep and waited. Now I was warm. I didn't have anything to do, and I got bored, so I decided to have a look at what I took out the rubbish a little more closely. And I found this ball of scrunched up paper. Oh, hello, I'm in luck. It's some of my old material. Do you want to hear it? It's an absolute ripe slice of vintage Brice. It's a word one. I suppose they've all been word ones. Anyway, here goes like this. The other day, I was abroad on a golf course in a Land Rover. Yeah, abroad on a golf course in a Land Rover when an environmentalist came up to me and said, "What are you driving a 4x4 for?" And I said, "I'll stop you there. It's not a 4x4, it's just a 4x4. And she said, "I know it's a 4x4, not a 4x4. If I thought it was a 4x4, I would have said, 'What are you driving a 4x4 for?'" And I said, "No, it's not a 4x4 or a 4x4, it's just a 4x4. And at that moment, 4 golfers, remember, we're on a golf course, 4 golfers, each in +4s, hit 4 balls in our direction and alerted us to the danger by shouting 4. Well, I turned around and said, "What do you do that for?" Just as the 4th of the 4 balls hit the environmentalist square in the forehead and she hit the floor. Well, the 4th golfer saw that. He couldn't handle it. He started walking away. One of the golfers popped up and said, "Mate, what are you leaving your 4x4 for?" I said, "Not you as well!" It's not a 4x4, it's just a 4x4. And he said, "All right, calm down, mate. I know it's a 4x4, not a 4x4. If that's just a 4x4's parked across the whole 4, it's a par 4 and I'm winning. I've never done that before." I said, "Look, I'm off for 40 winks. I'll be back at 4. Well, he was livid. He came charging at me. He had rage all in his eyes. I thought, I'm done for, but I remained calm. I got out my mobile phone. I dialed +44, international dialing code for the UK. Remember, we're abroad in this story. I dialed +44. I got onto government headquarters. Quarters. They said, "What's the problem?" I said, "I'm stuck in the 4 nightmare again." And they said, "Don't worry, help is on its way." But who did they send? The famous 5. Odor eaters, 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 odor eaters. Odor eaters! Odor eaters! Did you get it? That's an evening of my life right there. If you're interested, it's just a packet of odor eaters and then a packet of Doritos, and then you just do that. Yeah, you've got to get them the right way around. The first time I made it, I put them on the wrong ends and it didn't make any sense. Yeah. 6 months leading up to the bin, I'd been unemployed, and it was my choice not to have a job after taking life advice from a Cockney alpaca that I'd met in Madrid. It was a film set. I was in a J2O advert. I earned £8,000 in a day. Drinks are on me. The thing is, when you've got £8,000 and your rent is £600 a month, it doesn't mean you can retire. And it was only after 4 months and nearly £7,000 in credit card debt that I realised I need to get a job. So I got 2. I got one in an office to pay for my trips to the pub, and one in a pub to pay off my debts. I actually missed a shift in the pub the day I locked myself out of the house. So, the truth is I'd missed several shifts and even a few days in the office, and then it hit me. You know, I was a 33-year-old man sitting on his doorstep in donated clothes, playing with rubbish. having spent the best part of a day locked out of his house waiting for someone else to come home and sort out his problems. I needed to give up drinking, which was tough because I bloody love drinking. I absolutely love drinking, you know. I still would if I could, but I can't drink like a normal person because I put the straw up my bum and suck with my arse. It's absolutely awful. It's embarrassing for me. It's simply awful for the bar staff. And yet I do it night after night after night after. I spent a fortune on straws, mainly. No, I started going to AA. My problem was worse than I thought. Apparently I'm the only one that drinks with my bum. No. No. I quit drinking. I've been sober for about 6 months now. And, it was tough. It's tough giving up drinking, but when I stopped, I met some great people. I rediscovered my old friends, or I like to think they rediscovered a version of me that we all thought was lost. It's tough to connect with people. I only really realised that when I'd been going out with my girlfriend for a few months, and the topic of menstrual cycles syncing came up. You know, like it does. You're aware of this? Sometimes women can become so close that their menstrual cycles sync up. And I chose not to believe it, not because it isn't true, but because it made me hyper aware that I wasn't that close to anyone. But then I shared a bed with my best friend and we both woke up with erections, so maybe there's something in it. So yeah, I don't drink anymore, but I try not to let it define me, just like none of us have to be defined by any one aspect of our lives. I mean, I'm a Jimmy Nail fan. I'm a comedian, you know, I'm a Gemini. I'm also a man that took a shit in a pub garden and squashed it with a breeze block, but I try not to let it define me entirely. It's just a very small part of a complex and, may I say, quite pulchritudinous whole. Yeah, some of you looking at me like my girlfriend does when she says, Ali, stop using words you don't understand. Well, I'll say to you what I said to her. Listen, babe, I'm an enigma. What you see is what you get. And what I've got is Ali Brice, and I'm out of the bin now. Yeah, I don't drink anymore. I don't have to drink I've realised that being an adult and being silly aren't mutually exclusive. And it's all right. Doesn't matter. And I just want to show you. That's the little cunt that had a green M&M up his nose. Look at him, little shit. But why are this guy's arms coming out of his head? Don't look! Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. I've had a lot of fun. That's my time. You've got a great night ahead of you. Please do go home and Google my set, because it is quite funny. It is quite funny, and you've looked really bored for most of it. That's not true. You've been lovely. Leave. I should have left 4 seconds ago when you were all laughing.